All right, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us, talking Social Security. Nick Barish with Josh Horn from over at the Social Security Administration. Some breaking news for you. We were talking about the cost of living increase, and as it stands, there has not been, at least my understanding is, it looks like Thursday is when an official announcement will be out, but it appears now, Josh, for just the third time in 40 years, there will not be a cost of living increase. And they're blaming it on gas prices. And I know this is new to you as well. This is just coming in now, and it will be made official on Thursday. But I know many of you are wondering, will there be a cost of living increase, which many of you depend on? And as I said, the last time there wasn't was 2010 and 2011, and this time not. And they're saying the cost of living adjustment rating that they look at is affected by prices of things we spend money on, and gas prices are so low that it may deem them not needing this cost of living increase.
Yeah, basically when they look at the cost of living increase, they're trying to make sure that the buying power of the Social Security benefits are as effective from one year to the next. And you know, from the material that we're looking at, you know, because of some of the drops in prices, that may be not an issue this year, so to speak. But they did mention that that they're looking, you know, of course this is unofficial, but that they're looking at other ways, for example, Medicare, to try to you know, keep things affordable. So I'll be very interested on Thursday to see what the official announcement details as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, this will have a ripple effect on a lot of ways. It affects millions of Americans, and certainly it means also, as a result, older Americans might face higher health care costs that come with it, where they depend on this to balance the increasing costs of what they're paying for.
And I always like to mention, was it 09 and 10?
Yeah.
That when we had those years where there was no cost of living adjustment, and I was here at least for part of that, and I always like to tell folks that that you are protected from a decrease in your benefits. So sometimes if there's no cost of living or a very low cost of living, we also have seen it when there's very low cost of living, but Medicare premiums go up significantly, that you might think that you're in fear of actually your benefits going down because you're having to pay more Medicare, but you're protected from that. So if your benefit amount is $1,200 and you don't get a cost of living increase, but your Medicare premiums go up by $10, your benefit's not going to go down. You're protected by an adjustable premium, is basically what it's called.
I think they said again, yeah, the average monthly payment out Social Security is about $1,200 bucks. $1,200 bucks. So just thought we'd throw it out there. The official announcement should come Thursday, and it looks as though there will not be one, but we'll know for sure later this week. All right, let's get to the phone calls. We have two lines open. Any question you have on Social Security, I know many of you may be applying for disability, things like this. Josh can walk you through the process. Let's go next to Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
Good morning. How can we help you?
Well, I have two questions. The first question is, can a person pay more into Social Security?
Right. So the answer would be
okay. Can a person pay more into Social Security so they can draw more when they retire? That's the first question.
Okay.
And the answer would be no. It's a set amount that's taken out automatically. You know, usually at least out of your you know, if you're drawing wages, and then of course your self-employment, you're paying it as well. But it's a set fee.
Second question is, what is the most that is paid out for Social Security?
You mean what's the maximum someone can get in a month?
That's right.
Like the people who make the most money that would get the most. I've asked you that before. There's a cap over, if you make more than what, $250,000, that's pretty much.
Yeah, and it's not even that much. It's around $110,000 or $115,000. After that, you don't pay Social Security taxes anymore. After that, so if somebody's paid what we call maximum tax every year, at this year the benefit for that maximum person would be $2,663 a month. So you know, the most rich person in the world,
Bill Gates, when he retires,
you know,
the most he can get is
$2,663 per month.
And I see your question too about could you? Interesting to think about that. Like a 401k, I can adjust how much money I put into my paycheck into my 401k.
Yeah, it's not really set up like that.
But Social Security doesn't work that way. It's a formula. Is there under any circumstance someone can opt out of Social Security? Were there cases where if you're working for a company where there's a separate type of pension account, or is there anything like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of examples. One is if you're paying into, or you're working for an employer who has opted out. I know certain state teachers, things like that, have opted out. Also, there are certain other examples like ministers. A lot of time ministers at the beginning of their career can choose whether they want to opt in or opt out of Social Security. But those are, a little bit fewer and far between, and they're getting fewer and farther between.
Yeah, you have to have special exemptions, but under no circumstance can I say, you know what, I don't want to pay you, and I'm going to take that money and just put it in my bank. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So that's off the table for you there, Linda. Let's go to Randy. Hi, Randy.
Okay, I want to ask a question. I was joining workers' comp and Social Security at the same time. I eventually took the settlement amount. Would I ever receive a raise on my disability?
For your workers' compensation?
Yeah.
Well, the workers' compensation is through whatever state you were injured in, and so that would really go back to, whichever state that you were working with and what the settlement, and how it was set up. So I really can't address any workers' compensation. Now, I will tell you that when it comes to Social Security and drawing disability, depending on which state you're drawing workers' comp from, it could affect your disability checks. And so a lot of times when you're applying, or actually every time that you're applying for Social Security disability, we'll ask you about workers' compensation and ask for any copy of any of the paperwork so that we can see whether that affects your disability payments or not.
Yeah, because I got affected by 80%.
Yeah, in certain states, it's called a reverse offset, which just basically means that instead of your workers' compensation being offset for Social Security is offset for your workers' compensation, and those are very specific situations depending on which state and how the settlement was agreed on and how it was set up. So it's always something good to go over individually when you apply for disability, or if you have continued questions to call in about your specific case.
Okay, and I also received a letter about a week ago stating there was a new law that was coming into effect in December, stating that people that was joining workers' comp and no longer receive workers' comp, that the benefit will also be changed.
That the benefit would be changed?
If they're not receiving it, would the benefit go up?
Now, for certain, like I said, every settlement's a little bit different, but for settlements that are set up on kind of a time schedule, when that time schedule runs out and so effectively the workers' compensation ends, then it no longer affects your Social Security anymore. So you may be coming up on the end of that timetable where it will no longer affect your Social Security. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah, which would mean then he'd probably end up seeing it would no longer compensate for it, so you could get a little more in the Social Security check.
Yeah, I've seen those reverse offsets where it almost completely eliminates the Social Security check, and people almost have forgotten about their Social Security, and then they get this letter in the mail saying, hey, it's over now, and so we're going to start paying you, and it's almost a surprise to individuals.
Good.
But yeah.
Good questions there. Hope that works out for you, Randy. Listen, we have to take a break. When we come back, we've got 3 lines open, all right? Questions, we can get to you. 737-7587, questions for Josh about Social Security. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. We're going until 9 o'clock. Stay with us.